Morning, Tone.
Kenny, what's up?
Away we go again.
Heck yeah.
Unbelievable.
What a bonanza. I was sitting back.
There were so many. Let me just say this. I'm sorry. There were so many people tweeting me yesterday going, aren't you glad it's over? I go, it ain't over. Oh, no. We've only just begun. It ain't over. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
well, this has gone from, are the Browns, a big part of this story, too? Is this just a landmark NFL case?
Now it's become very broad.
Yes, where everybody has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. Some people are like, man, you guys are you're just dragging this Sorsby thing to fill time during this. And I'm like, yes, Keith Britton. Yes, we are, boss of 92.3 The Fan. No, but it's funny. Everybody.
Excuse me. That man was encouraging of that. So.
Every single fan, media, like, who didn't have an opinion on Brendan Sorsby? Like, I can't imagine not
talking
about this.
Guys, we could have Patrick Mahomes playing here. I'd have opinions on Brendan Sorsby.
Right. It's just become a national story in many ways.
It wouldn't have been as involved as it's been, but there'd be opinions on Brendan Sorsby.
In many ways, it was overshadowing, the lead up to the draft. The NBA draft last night, where there was, potential intrigue, and would there be any massive trades? There really weren't when it comes to like Jaylen Brown yet or anything like that. And no, everybody was weighing in. Every radio columnist. I mean, Dan Wetzel going after Sorsby. Mm-hmm. That Nicole Arbach, who I commented towards and quote tweeted her.
It's Arbach?
Whatever. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I've been saying it like Red Auerbach for however long she has been in. I've known of her.
Everybody was opining on this. It was national news.
Sounded like an idiot.
Like crazy. I love stories like this because it's the intersection of so many different things. Oh, yeah. It's got political tentacles. You've got the NCAA. You had the Big 12. You had conferences. You have the CBA and the NFL. You have the commissioner stepping in. You have morals, ethics, gambling. And the league, every team in the NFL is now worth how much more over the last 5 years because of gambling. It's crazy how big of a story this is.
It is. It is. Because I think some people have gotten a little bit mixed up, but that's a point I'll make probably later in this segment or even next segment here. It still comes down to not even right or wrong. It comes down to how this, because there's going to be other instances of this. So again, I'm very interested in this because when I told you at the outset of this, when it became like, would the Browns be interested, anything like that? I said, I cannot sit there and say, without a doubt, Shadow, absolutely not, never, 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 never. I can't say that because he's not going to be he's not the first, and he certainly isn't going to be the last. What he does is he sets, and I know that there's other guys, I get that, but you have a precedent that's kind of being set in a way where they found their own little loophole, which still doesn't make much sense. Where it's you have a deadline. You've said this. You said you get the credit because I thought it, but you need to say
their rationale. It wasn't.
Even when I read the letter, I'm like, what does
the
that
NFL
mean?
Didn't come in and say you gambled, you're suspended coming into the league. Remember, they did this for Terrell Pryor. He came in with a suspension. Other players have come in with a suspension. They didn't do that. They've had a player come in without a suspension that they deemed eligible that was guilty of gambling. They ended up dropping the case, but it was that LSU wide receiver who plays for, was it Boutte? So there was precedent here. They didn't go with any of that. They said, we don't have enough time, which I thought was hilarious because every team in the NFL has been doing according to reports, has been doing their Sorsby recon and their investigative. Remember, all these NFL teams that are worth, $3 billion, $4 billion, $5 billion, $6 billion, depending on which team it is, they all have their own investigative teams now. The Browns have their own, and I'm talking not football. I'm talking behind the scenes, off the field. And so the NFL is acting like they didn't have enough time, and they didn't submit the paperwork. And I looked at, I got a copy right in front of me of what they look for. It has nothing to do with paperwork. It doesn't say anything about that, which is, of course, what the attorney to Brendan Sorsby said. He's like, there's nothing about paperwork. There's not even a box to put paperwork in.
So because once I heard the name Jeffrey Kessler, there was no way that this was ever going to be over. Not when it happened with the NCAA, and certainly not when it happens with the NFL.
Oh, this guy has some signature wins. Again, he has some losses, too. He has some signature wins against the NFL.
You can wish all you want that this whole saga is over now, but it ain't over because the name Kessler's in there, and nothing is over when it comes to that fella. It didn't make the part about him not getting it in on the deadline didn't make sense because again,
there's a deadline.
It says your petition filed 3 days before the deadline without any supporting information or documentation, and only after abandoning your recent litigation efforts to avoid NCAA sanctions does not provide a basis for the league to alter those plans. All right, but you still filed before the deadline. The deadline's the deadline. It wasn't like he came in an hour after the deadline.
Right.
So
that's a new one to me.
I want to know some more information. And we got Mike Florio coming on at 8:20 this morning. So some of this is going to be exploratory. So there's certain things I want to pound the table about and certain things I can't yet because I don't have all the facts because the NFL is sending this and they're saying that, hey, we don't know the full scope of everything that you're doing, which makes it sound to me like he would be – when Josh Gordon came into the league, did he serve a suspension after the supplemental draft? Did Josh serve a suspension?
Yeah, it was
all right.
Like 2 games.
And he entered in the drug program, right?
So,
drug and alcohol program.
So wouldn't he – what I don't understand about is then you do have a precedent when it comes to Calvin Ridley and when it comes to other guys. Now, he was a current player.
Yes.
I understand Butte was not, but you do have a current player. So
the NFL seems to have, depending on a case-by-case basis, whether – they deem it appropriate that you were in the bound by the CBA because you were in the union or not in the union, which is very interesting because they've kind of vacillated back and forth here.
So what this does is I think this might end up doing a little bit of what the Big 12 was trying to do to Texas Tech when Texas Tech last week was just like, you know what? Forget it. We raised the white flag. We don't need all these problems with all this stuff. Take your money. We got to separate. Good luck to you. And I wonder if this is the NFL's version of this because this is going to get litigated and this is going to end up in court. Well, the court things take time.
Oh, yeah.
And it could come to a point where, because I really thought he'd get in the supplemental draft. We're going to go through the workouts. We're going to go through the rigmarole. We'll argue how much you should be willing to give up. Now, I wondered in the back of my mind, like, let's not sit here and act like we're idiots. The NFL is a very closed society, and they decide who they want in and who they want out of their league. And we learned that very publicly about 10 years ago now. Like, they will decide who they want in, who they want out, how they want to work together, how they don't want to work together, as we saw with the Bidwell case of what happened, right? So that's
and the Maurice Clarett 20 years ago.
So I figured everything's a negotiation, as we learned 4 years ago. Everything's a negotiation. So I figured that he would go to the supplemental draft. Somebody would put a bid in on him. They'd get him. Then you go to the table and you say, all right, how long does he get suspended for because of this? Let's make a deal. And I still think let's make a deal is on the table. But I wonder if the NFL's doing this because, and this is going to turn into court TV. I'm going to turn into Nancy Grace here real damn quick. I don't mean to do it. Because this is a long letter. And there's a lot of legalese here. And it looks like this can be very slippery wizard stuff to get the NFL to just be able to litigate this and to make it so arduous where Brendan Sorsby, we might get to September and he's just going to go, you know what, this ain't worth it. I'll see you at the draft in 2027. I'll play nice with the NFL. Our lawyers should play nice with the NFL. I got to go work out. I got to get ready for the draft. And maybe that's where it goes. Because, guys, July is in a week.
Yeah.
Like, we are getting close to camp.
Even in the supplemental situation, he was not going to be ready. There was no chance he was going to be asked to be like a starter for a football team anytime soon. I know we had talked about this, and yesterday, Daryl, when he came in those final 2 hours, Daryl's like, well, the whole thing about putting a bid in is he better than Shedeur right now? And I'm like, well, I don't think that matters. And he's like, well, sure it matters. And I was like, well, he's a prospect who may not even be available at the start of the year. So I don't know how relevant that really is, but either.
Well, there's guys who are going to be prospects. There's guys who are going to be first-round guys. This is going to open up a can of worms. There are guys who are going to be first-round guys in April that, as of right now, were not better than Shedeur in college.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
So we're good with that.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
I don't want to make two separate arguments here, two separate things.
Sorsby doesn't have that experience.
And that's kind of what I was getting. That's what I was getting frustrated with. Is I thought there were a lot of silly things being said about the hypocrisy of the NFL. We'll get to that coming up in a bit. But I thought it was ridiculous, and I called you out for it, and we had fun with it, fighting over it, where I'm like, why are we moving goalposts for this guy? And why are my mentions and calls moving goalposts for this guy when you didn't know who the hell he was in December? Mm-hmm. All you heard is that Albert Breer, who heard it from a scout, tell you that he could be a top 5 pick next year. Well, as of right now, he's not. And we were conflating that with, well, he's top 5 talent. He's not a top 5 talent, because if he was, he'd have been in the draft.
No, I'd say he had potential top 5 traits.
He has potential top 5 traits.
Yeah, that's very different in 2027. From he has proven any of that today. But what do we know about teams in professional sports? They oftentimes, almost exclusively, you could argue, they draft on traits.
Yeah, of course. But that's still a 2027 thing. Because you could say he has first-round traits. All right, you're going to spend a first-round pick on it? Hell no, I ain't going to spend a first-round pick on it. I mean, there's plenty of guys that...
But that's what was different about this specific situation.
I mean, Drew Aller was taken in the 3rd round, and their whole thing was, we'll deprogram him. He's got all these NFL traits. We'll be fine. That's the whole selling point.
Yeah, Drew Aller had himself a year prior his own draft to determine those things. Who knows where he would have been taken, right?
That's the thing.
That's the whole thing. Normally that's not how a draft works. There are other players. There's opportunity costs that goes with it in that direct draft. The supplemental, it's not that way. You either you bid and you're in or you're out, and that's it. And you have no other players to investigate or to fully vet. What I am most my biggest takeaway from all this is like, yes, I mean, dude, he did a lot of monumentally stupid things, right? During his years at Indiana.
Yeah.
It still is cloudy. I'm seeing very different opinions on what happened at Cincinnati, but we know for a fact at Indiana, he bet on his team. He wasn't on the travel roster. So, yes, he's on the team, but you have a group of guys you're on the travel roster, huh? You're going to put on the Indiana stuff for the rest of your life? Probably not.
You know where I stand on that.
So, and, $3 bets, $2 bets, $1 bets, and he's betting on Turkish basketball. And
if I have one airplane bottle, that's fine. But if I have 10 airplane bottles, that just makes up a pint.
But my question
still getting real drunk.
I still want to know, by the way, the one key missing information to me is just, as you would ask if this was any of your friends, what's the tally after all the bets?
I knew you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to bring it up. What do you mean? Was he up?
Okay. Would you say your buddy had a problem gambling if he had placed $90,000 bets?
Yes.
And he was up $500,000? Would you say your buddy had a problem? You wouldn't. You'd be enjoying the nights out on him.
I would think no.
Yes,
I would think it because
you'd be going to the club with him and going, free money. This is amazing. Keep doing this. I just assume
unless you become a tout, unless you become one of those guys, you just end up in an alley somewhere without shoes. That's just how I've always thought. That's my question. I've always seen with guys who are gamblers, not they become bookmakers, not they become touts or anything like that. If they're just straight gambling, in every scenario of what I've seen, that guy has ended up in arrears with people he should not end up with, or I don't know if there's anything worse than that, but almost as bad where you're getting kicked out of the house, your wife's leaving you. Like, it never ends well. In every scenario I've seen.
I want to know, because I do have buddies that have made this their quasi full-time job, and they're not just playing it like a scratch-off. Like, they're also not just betting $1, $2, $3. In his case, where is he? Is he down? Is he down $1 million? Has he blown through with his legal fees too? Has he blown through any of the Texas Tech money and the Cincinnati money? Or is he just zero?
No, we just had the College World Series. That was high-stakes baseball being played in the SEC, so maybe there was some
Is he up? Is he down?
Action being put on that.
Is he up? Because I'm just saying, like, there's a kind of a double standard here. Like, I have friends that have definitely placed the amount of bets that he has placed, and their families appreciate that. Their families do. I've seen the house they live in. I've seen the neighborhood they live in. Like, they're doing okay.
Hey, it's a dangerous game, friendo.
I'm wondering if their neighbors think they have a gambling problem. Like, I haven't heard. I haven't seen anybody put that out. But in the end, my question is this. So this came up with Maurice Clarett, and part of the argument with Maurice Clarett was that you were harming somebody who should otherwise be eligible for the draft. And originally, they won the case until it went to the Second District Court of Appeals. Mm-hmm. A now current sitting Supreme Court justice made in the in New York. It was always the appeals court in New York. I always love that. It's in all the TV movies, it's all in the TV shows. The Second District. Anyway, they overturned it, and so then it became gospel. It became essentially they affirmed the CBA, and now we know who's in the CBA, who's not governed by the CBA. And Maurice Clarett lost and had to sit out a year, and that was as penal as it gets ever, right? And I heard the arguments. He was going to be wounded and all of that. Well, in this case, has there ever been a reason not to download a gambling app that you've ever seen than Brendan Sorsby, who just lost how much money, lost the opportunity potentially to be a number one pick in next year's draft, lost the ability to be in this. And I'm wondering, I keep hearing about the sanctity of the game, and they don't want to violate, the ethics and standards of these huge gambling companies and these gaming companies that they have relationships with. And I'm like, so when all is said and done, what message is this also sending? Like, you probably should never gamble. You should. I say that as somebody who comes on here and endorses a gambling company. I am curious how they're going to wade through that. Like, they're basically saying, hey, the pitfalls are so bad to gambling that you might lose a career and lose millions of dollars. Some
of this is, again, why I hate using the term kid, and I'll explain that coming up here in 5 minutes. Do you think he should get to play, yes or no, this year?
This year? Okay. Yeah, I've always thought he should be eligible.
Right. I'm hearing a lot about the hypocrisy of all this stuff. I don't want to play the Breer cuts from yesterday. We'll get to that here in a second. You know, I brought it up to you, and I've been saying this the whole time. Like, just because I understand he's 18, all right? I get all that.
When it started.
Yeah. All right? But I still don't have the facts of when he stopped.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
important.
Because I don't have the facts of when he stopped, he could have said, for whatever reason, he could sit there and claim ignorance and go, I had no idea. I stopped 4 years ago or 5 years ago, however old he is now, and I'd be more apt to believe him. But I don't have those facts. I got his own agent saying Cincinnati knew about this. What did Cincinnati know about?
And the Cincinnati stuff is
he wasn't on just the travel or the non-travel squad at Cincinnati.
I have seen conflicting stuff on Cincinnati. I've seen some allegations that he did bet on his team was on Cincinnati, so this would be different. He had a role on the Cincinnati football team, obviously, much more than just, the whole argument. He was just sitting in his dorm room. And the other thing was I've seen it was daily fantasy. It was doing a bunch of that. So I do think that needs to be clear.
Well, see, this is why I fight it. I mean, we had an NFL head coach sit in here and have no problem over the course of 40 minutes, on and off air, talk about the ponies.
Oh, yeah.
And how he knows the rules and he goes out of his way. Why can't I expect? I know he's 18. I know the kids are stupid. Excuse me. I know young men tend to be stupid. He's an adult at that point, according to the federal government. I understand that there's a tendency to be dumb. But if then you aren't hammering it into his head, and I don't believe that was Kurt Signetti at the time, but if you're not hammering it into every single one of these players' heads of what could possibly happen, the kid is dumb for doing that, and you're negligent and not telling them the full scope of everything that could possibly go wrong. Because everybody knows that, the guys are going to hit the tables. Guys go up to Windsor. It was a different time in our generation. Mm-hmm. They're going to hit the tables. They're going to do some things. Young guys are going to be young guys. That's what young guys do. Okay, fine. But, you're not working summer landscaping. Okay, you play for Indiana. I know you're not on the travel squad, but if the fifth guy goes down, you're in. You're still part of it, and you can still cause problems. You and I had to deal with this with a friend of ours not too terribly long ago with guys who weren't even on the travel squad. It doesn't matter. You got everybody in trouble for what you did because you should have known better. And they had to pay the fiddler for that. Hell, it opened up an opportunity for a guy who might be playing at Penn State this year. So I bring this up for this reason, is we keep talking about the hypocrisy. There's still the personal responsibility. Like, guys, we cannot sit here and act stupid about all this. Like the NFL, yeah, in its classic sense is hypocritical, but it's also like, welcome to American business. Like Lima, all right, you're 45 years old. All right, I'm getting ready to hit a milestone age, and Facebook knows so because I keep getting so many damn Blue Chew ads, which I'll talk about with Jason or Daryl coming up later this week. I represent, in my 20s on this station, I represented, and every radio show host in this city, I'd say every radio show host in any major city has represented a liquor brand at one point. I represented a liquor brand. Okay, well, I can't sit there and yell about the hypocrisy. If I get too loaded up one night, my wife has to call the cops. I have to deal with that. And because everything like that can lead to something bad is supposed to be done in moderation. And I know I fill myself up with butter and sugar every day, so I can't talk about the hypocrisy of the things that I eat because no,
I think it's a bad
personal
argument.
Responsibility.
I saw a lot of people making.
You think I'm making a bad argument?
No.
Okay.
I think I saw a lot of people say, "Well, the NFL is in bed with alcohol, and therefore, what?" Like,
because it's the way it goes,
they're in bed with a lot of they're in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. Yeah. They're in bed with the insurance companies. Yes, the NFL has a lot of big time partners.
You do something that's very public. That makes you a representative of a public entertainment entity, and if you've acted out of line and they feel that you are not worth the risk, you're not worth the risk, you're going to be subject to either their punishments or expulsion from what they do. And it's just that simple. And some of us, I mean, we're getting up on our soapboxes here, and I go, God, why are we... I'm not talking to 15-year-olds here, guys. You guys are all grown men going to work. You guys know all this. So it's like, there's no reason for me to get up on my soapbox about that when you guys all know that.
Well, to me,
they're not, the grown men driving to work today aren't stupid.
It surprised me, like, you wouldn't allow your players to openly drink, during the games, before the games.
Well, you guys got Bud Light up on the like, right. Well, that doesn't matter.
Right. I thought that argument totally missed the mark and was kind of silly. Like the NFL has all these different partners, a wide array of businesses. They should have rules. I've never said that, like, Brendan Sorsby is some total victim in all of this, even after this suspension. Like, look, the NFL does have their rules, and, you also have your lawyers, and you can figure that out. I had no problem, by the way, with him lawyering up. People are like, around every turn he lawyers up. It's like, that's America. Like, we have people in very high places in this country that lawyer up at every turn because they can lawyer up at every turn. It has made him an unsympathetic figure. And that is what, to me, is the most surprising or the biggest difference from someone who covered the Maurice Clarett case and lived through the Maurice Clarett saga, is he was, even after he had taken all the impermissible gifts, which originally was allegedly, but it was him taking impermissible gifts, he was looking to lawyer up. He was trying to dodge any of the consequences in college and trying to keep all his money and what he had gotten. And he had also, I thought, lied about some of his treatment at Ohio State. And yet he was a sympathetic figure 20 years ago. There were people across all sorts of demographics who were taking it up for the player against the machine. And what's so fascinating about Sorsby is you guys have sided with the machine, NCAA, and have sided with the NFL.
Because they knew it wasn't a job.
The biggest of machines.
Now it's a job.
Is it because he's gotten paid money?
That's exactly right.
That's the only difference?
Because he's got money in the bank and an opportunity.
We don't know how much money in the bank anymore.
And in Terrell Pryor's situation or a lot of those other situations, like, you could try to put money in that bank, but you really shouldn't be putting money in that bank because we don't want to know where that money came from, whatever sandwich bag you got it from whatever booster. Also called the good old days to some fans out there. Like, that was a different set of circumstances, and there was a big argument about players not being able to make money off their own likenesses and all that other stuff. All those arguments are done. Now it's just, how do you try to put toothpaste back in the bottle, which you ain't going to be able to do so. So now it's basically, hey, you get paid just like anybody else does, and you do a public thing, not like a lot of people do. You are special in that case. There's how many millions of people here? You are in a special case. You're well known in what you do. So you have to represent that better. And more is expected of you no matter what. That's the American way. That's personal responsibility. That's what adults do. Whether you're 18, whether you're 47 years old, you're still an adult. And that's where I won't give him that quarter on that. However, that all being said, I don't think he should never be able to play football again, because I think we're going into a different area. Before, it was extremely clear, like when Pete Rose played baseball, managed baseball, it was extremely clear, and they didn't get the full scope of things. I do think throughout the entire working of that case, I do think that Pete Rose signed some things he might not have known he was signing. I'll grant him that. But I think that that's a different scenario. Now we're more open about it. Now you have to set a precedent. And I just think that this becomes a great big fight to slow things down, to eventually make him go, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to play nice because I'm going to work out. I'm not going to have any negative stats against me. Because if you're Brendan Sorsby, you're looking at it going, all right, if I can't get back in the NFL at some period of time here, I got to go on the offensive. I got to go on the offensive going, I'm a change man. I have not bet since this, and this time. Yeah. The workout videos, the Instagram videos, bring in the film crew. God knows we've seen them do it right there while they do it in front of us, which is crazy and bizarre, but kind of fun. Bring in the film crew, show the workouts, because you know what? I'll bring out the list while Julian Sayin goes out there, and God forbid I don't want him to. He seems like a nice enough young man, but if Julian Sayin throws 2 picks, guess who didn't throw 2 picks that week? Brendan Sorsby. If Lenore Sellers throws 2 picks that week in a loss with South Carolina, guess who didn't throw 2 picks that week? Brendan Sorsby. So his name will continue to go up.
I wonder. I wonder.
He's cost himself first round with all this. But
there's a world where this is unrecoverable. This is a world where this is the end of his football life outside of the peripheral leagues and whatnot down the road.
But I don't think he should be banned for life. There's other things that happen.
He's not going to be. He's going to be eligible a year from now.
Yes.
But does he recover from being out of sight, out of mind? And, where did Maurice Clarett eventually end up getting drafted?
But because of their partnerships, I think the NFL, while you can call it as hypocritical as you want, not you necessarily, but anybody else, the NFL is forced to carry a heavy hand here. Because I think what Albert said yesterday was very, very true. Like a lot of people make money from this. A lot of businesses make money from this in this business. A lot of entities do it, and they have to protect it no matter what. And if one guy has to become the poster child for that, they will make an example of him.
I just thought we had our poster child. I thought we had the kid from, LSU.
Yeah, this is a quarterback. This is a quarterback.
So that's the difference. But it sucks. You can bet all you want as long as you're not a quarterback.
There's wide receivers. This is a quarterback.
I don't know how that stands up in court, but that is interesting.
Well, Jeffrey Kessler, surely. Hopefully he's listening to that. He'll play this for everybody.